Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, HollywoodShono here, about to give you another Mortal Kombat X video. In this video, we're going to be testing out Dark Lord KOTAL Khan, which is a early access unlock for the next 18 or 19 days. Let's see exactly how long the early access is available for before we go into Faction Wars. So as you see, early access still available for 18 days and 16 hours. Now, normally I do not actually pick up the early access cards, but with 18 days to go, and the huge amount of hype with Mortal Kombat X patch 1.9, and of course you guys have seen the Kobu Jutsu Tanya and Dark Emperor Liu Kang reviews, and you also saw a mini review on the Bloody Shokan armor, but we're going to be doing a better one now that the gear item is maxed out. So Dark Lord KOTAL Khan had 980 damage and health, and he had a little bit over 1,000 toughness and recovery, which is pretty moderate. So passive ability, KOTAL summons an Osh-Tekk warrior to fight in his place after using his Sword Quake special. Maximum 2 warriors per battle. So the Buzzsaw ability is a grapple, medium damage, and bleed. This is a little bit better than the normal KOTAL Khan ability in my opinion. And the Sword Quake is a high damage plus weaken. And as we know, the weaken effects basically do a little bit less damage. I don't find them to be that great, but you might. And the Sunburn is X-ray, extreme damage, and weaken. We're going to try to do one of these as well. And we probably should throw a monk in there, but we're not going to do that. So we're going to do first a 3-battle matchup showing off his rare gear item, the Brawler Gloves, and the Saurian armor. Keep in mind this Sacrificial Knife also acts as a power drain. And this is very important because power drains are a little bit hard to come by with some cards. As you guys saw in the Kobu Jutsu Tanya video, Shaolin Kung Jin with his bow actually power drained a couple times too. So don't overlook the power drain mechanics too, and it can definitely save your ass. So we're going to do a 3-battle matchup here. In the first fight, we have Reptile, Possessed Kenshi, and Scorpion. Most of the stats are in Possessed Kenshi. So be a little bit careful here, and there's Possessed Kenshi. The fire damage acts like a power drain. Those of you guys that saw the Dark Emperor Liu Kang video also saw that in play too, and that is very devastating. There's the swipe I pulled out. There's the Sword Quake on Kenshi. That does get rid of him. And there is the Osh-Tekk Warrior. So as you see, he's kind of weak, kind of like the Aquaman character. I think it's a little bit weaker than that though. But there is one significance that might come into play too. These Osh-Tekk warriors do have a power drain mechanic as well, so if they don't actually do very much, or even in a one-on-one situation, these Osh-Tekk warriors can actually power drain more than the opponent has power. Now this is pretty important too because, as you see, Scorpion barely at 1 bar, where he was at 1.5 bars, so you can actually manipulate a little bit of power drains. You can also use the Osh-Tekk warriors defensively. And the reason you would use an Osh-Tekk warrior defensively, like for example, if Kenshi still had 2 bars of power, you could use that to absorb the special 2 and take it off your main guy. I feel that's a pretty powerful way to use him, considering that sometimes the best offense is a good defense and absorbing blows so people don't get knocked out, especially if Dark Lord KOTAL Khan is your weaker person. And you see, Osh-Tekk warrior is surviving because Scorpion hasn't used a special. That spear is not going to knock him out. He's going to have to actually hit Osh-Tekk. So while the other characters are at 2 bars, probably close to 3. And Big Reptile does have that ability. So there is Dark Lord KOTAL Khan, and you saw that he actually generated power while the Osh-Tekk warrior is in there, so not totally useless there either. 26,970 XP, 891 coins, 1,400 battle points. For the second matchup, we have Sonya Blade, Gunslinger Aaron Black, and Covert Ops Cassie Cage. We're going to try to show off the level 1 move a little bit. I'd also like to see if we get a stronger opponent, if we can get off a power drain on special 2. Usually we do these fights 1 round with weaker opponents, and that buzzsaw miss, you have to really be right on your opponent. I recommend not comboing, because the opponent's blocking will push them away. So level 1 move is still kind of bad, but there you use the buzzsaw, and it is a block breaker. You saw the opponent block. And bleed mechanics generally are pretty strong too, like Jason's bleeds I find to be really good. Even if some people think Slasher Jason sucks, I know better than that. There's the arc kick, does some pretty good damage. Certainly does have KOTAL Khan down. So we're going to get off a Sword Quake. Now in this situation here, the Osh-Tekk Warrior is going to tank for Dark Lord KOTAL Khan. Now he is also generating power while not in the fight. So we're going to go off the Tortellini. I did not see a power drain there, so I wonder if the opponent can't be blocking. So there's the kick that got absorbed. And we're going to got the buzzsaw now at combos. So it seems to do okay. I think the special 2 does do more damage than the special 1, and the added power drain mechanic and a little 2-hit slash there as Cassie Cade gets eliminated for the victory in the second fight. 27,840 XP as Blood God KOTAL Khan gains a level of 16. 1,151 coins, 1,600 battle points. So in the third matchup, we have Ninjutsu Scorpion, Inferno Scorpion, and Grandmaster Sub-Zero. So we have 2 Scorpions that have more stats than KOTAL Khan. Let's see if we can get up to 2 bars. I'd love to be able to hit Inferno Scorpion and Power Drain on a special too. Ninjutsu Scorpion getting beat down. There's Sub-Zero. Let's get in Reptile. That freeze hits for 953. Doesn't do a whole lot. We're going to spit on Sub-Zero. We know the poison mechanics are pretty good with Reptile. And this should put us pretty close to his close. So we're going to spit on Sub-Zero. Pretty much wipes him out. That does knock him out. Alright, so now we're going to go up the Sword Quake, and we see he's at 2 bars, and there was a power drain. There's the Osh-Tekk Warrior. So KOTAL Khan did get a power drain on his special too, which is normally not possible if you don't have his gear in him. And if you don't have his gear in him, you can get it in 19 days. Impressive. And the Osh-Tekk Warrior has power drain. I find that aspect to be pretty cool to have a little bit of a power drain. Again, it is utility. You're mostly using it defensively. You're not really trying to use it offensively. That spear gets blocked. We've got the buzzsaw on Scorpion. And we're going to get Reptile in just to make sure that KOTAL Khan doesn't get sprayed. That spear on Reptile is going to do a lot of damage. So we're going to go off the totem for damage. It only hits for 438. Spear block, so we're in pretty good shape. We're going to go off the buzzsaw, which again is a block breaker. And down goes Scorpion for the victory in the third fight. 37,584 XP as Dark Lord KOTAL Khan gains a level of 22. 1,381 coins, 2,000 battle points. Now the one thing that I'm very curious about, I won't obviously be able to test it until I do an Elite 7 doing of Dark Lord KOTAL Khan, but I also wonder if you upgrade the Sword Quake if the Osh-Tekk Warrior is actually stronger, because we saw that the Osh-Tekk Warrior was extremely weak, but keep in mind he's also used to take hits off of your teammates. So you can use the Sword Quake if the person that's in has 2 bars. You hope that they use a special 2 move, and instead of you taking damage, they take the damage. So I see Dark Lord KOTAL Khan as more of a defensive card, even though his stats are kind of Inferno Scorpion-like, which is kind of mid-range. So I don't see him being an overwhelmingly good character, but I don't see him being a terrible card either. Now for the next 7 fights, and we're probably going to regret this, we're going to throw Monk into the fight. Where is Monk at? I know he's got to be around here somewhere. It's like one of the first cards that I own. There he is. Alright, so with Mournful Katana, we're going to give her, well, we got her gear item equipped already. We're going to give her the military vest, and we're going to give her the Dragon Essence. So with Dark Lord KOTAL Khan, now we're going to use all 3 of the bloody gear items. So KOTAL Khan will still have a power drain on special too. And I think it's a little bit more extreme. The PvP damage replaces the basic damage, and it'll also mean he does more special damage too. So all 3 of the PvP items will generate, I believe, 30% damage. So you get 30% more damage in PvP, 35%. Tomahawk actually gives 5% more damage, so 35% damage boost in PvP is actually better than the 30% that the KOTAL Khan's Sacrificial knife gives. Of course, if you use Brawler Gloves, you would actually lose a little bit of basic damage, but you might not since you're doing more PvP damage. And for Monk, we're going to give him. So we're going to give him the revolvers. We're going to give him the Saurian armor and the Soul Elixir. Alright, so we're going to do a 7-battle matchup with Dark Lord KOTAL Khan on the front lines. He's going to start at 2 bars every fight. So in the first matchup, we have Scorpion, Balance, Kenshi, and Sonya Blade. And my first instincts in this fight is get in Katana and Power Drain.
Fight. Impressive.
So that pretty much wiped out all of Scorpion's power. Got the Sword Quake on Sonya Blade, that wipes her out, so Kenshi is in. I'd love to see Kenshi get to 2 bars, so he might not even use a special on him. And there was a power drain on the Servant, not Dark Lord KOTAL Khan. So as you can see, damage taken off of KOTAL Khan. Here we're going to let Monk get sacrificed, even if we're going to do some damage. Obviously want to do some damage with Monk, so we're going to do that. We have 2 X-rays available. Katana's also at 2 bars. Scorpion getting worn down. There's the Eternal Vengeance. We're going to go off the Slice and Dice on Kenshi. One of the nicest asses in the game, by the way, too. So Kenshi is gone. We're going to go off the Sunburn from Scorpion, and we'll see if that is enough to get rid of him. $4,905 damage for the victory in the first fight. 31,320 XP, 1,177 coins, 1,800 battle points. So in the second fight, we have Cryomancer Sub-Zero, Dark Raiden, and Ronin Kenshi. We cannot actually power drain Dark Raiden, and Ronin Kenshi does not have a power drain. So it's going to be a pretty interesting fight. There is a little martial artist synergy with Kenshi. We don't have any Netherrealm parts. So right away, we can actually start off with the Servant. I think we're going to combo into it from a Quake. And that didn't do a lot of damage because it got blocked, but it still summons the Osh-Tekk Warrior. So it's really important when you're using a level 2 move to have to block, or it's kind of shitty, kind of like Quan Chi, Aaron Black's level 1 moves, and Ermax. They're just absolute garbage if they get blocked. There's the power drain for about a half bar. There's Ronin Kenshi, wipes out the clone. So we're going to power drain Kenshi, which we need as much offense as possible. This is why Ronin Kenshi is glowing there too. Not another one. We got the Sword Quake, and that did a little bit more damage. So there's the second Osh-Tekk Warrior. We can't actually power drain Raiden, but if he grabs this Osh-Tekk Warrior, that's going to be a lot of damage taken off somebody else. We could actually try to bait a X-ray as well. Because if Raiden gets to 3 bars, he might actually use an X-ray draining all of his power. We're actually going to try that mechanic. Alright, so there's 3 bars. It's really dangerous if it doesn't work. And there is the X-ray on the Osh-Tekk Warrior, so that is pretty awesome. And again, this is where the strength of Dark Lord KOTAL Khan comes into play. You can bait abilities from other people, so they take it and not you. That's going to not do a whole lot of damage on Sub-Zero. Ice Bolt for 1310. I think in this case it's better to just Power Drain with Katana. Kenshu's in. That slice reflected for 12,000, and that just destroyed Kenshu. So, as you see, Katana's gear end is really good. It's probably the best in slot. You really don't want to use basic damage gear with Katana because you can reflect special attacks. That just goes miles. So Sub-Zero is gone. Monk is in, and now we kind of want to get rid of Monk because we have 2 people at 2 bars. So we got the Fist of Flurry on Dark Raiden. We can get off another one to soften them up some more. So now I think both actors will actually get rid of. Yeah, so we got the Sunburn on Raiden. So as you saw, the Osh-Tekk Warrior actually paid dividends with a lot of value taken away from Raiden. Never off the Slice and Dice, Dark Raiden eliminated. So if you think that Dark Lord KOTAL Khan is absolute garbage, at high levels, I don't know. Because again, if you use those Osh-Tekk Warriors to take damage off of yourself, that is a big deal. Like you saw with Dark Raiden, we actually manipulated him to 3 bars, and he burned all 3 bars on a piece of shit Osh-Tekk Warrior. 31,320 XP, 1,177 coins, 1,800 battle points. So in the third fight, we have Kung Jin, Grandmaster Sub-Zero, and A-list Johnny Cage. Most of the stats are in Kung Jin.
Fight.
We're kind of just waiting for somebody else to come in. KOTAL Khan is doing enough work to Kung Jin so far. Haven't really taken any basic damage, surprisingly, but Kung Jin is not a super fast character either. And KOTAL Khan might even get to 3 bars without even doing anything. That's pretty cool. So Sub-Zero is in. Here's that 1 bar frozen for 2262. I got the Sunburn on Sub-Zero. So 5851 damage decrease. That puts him at 1 health. So there's the ice decoy. At this point, we want to kind of wait for Johnny Cage to come in. You know he's coming. Ice Bolt reflected, and that pretty much kills Sub-Zero. So now our mindset is a power drain Kung Jin. Johnny Cage at 2 bars, KOTAL Khan not quite at 2 bars. Now watch this ridiculousness. We're going to Sword Quake to get rid of Kung Jin. And Osh-Tekk Warrior's in. That kick, 58-17 on a piece of crap guy. So again, the Osh-Tekk Warrior is not useless. You guys might think it is, but no, that's a lot of damage taken off the main character. I think the proper way to use the Osh-Tekk Warrior is defensively, not offensively. Here we're going to grab, in case we get power drain. And that reflected and killed Johnny Cage for the victory. So as you see, the Bloody Shogun armor, when it reflects, you take no damage and the opponent takes full damage. 33,060 XP as Dark Lord KOTAL Khan gains a level of 23. 1,203 coins, 2,000 battle points. In the fourth matchup, we have Scorpion, Sonya Blade, and Sub-Zero. And these cards have way more stats. 15% health and damage for the martial artist, and 15% attack for Sonya. Scorpion is not quite as slow as Kung Jin, so it might be a little bit more annoying to deal with. I think we're going to have to power drain Scorpion. I think that's the big difference. Katana with her power drain are going to be the difference maker in this fight. However, KOTAL Khan does have a power drain in his special too, thanks to the Bloody Tomahawk. Here we have the power drain Sub-Zero. I think now is the time to use our first Osh-Tekk Warrior. Sonya does get rid of the Osh-Tekk Warrior. We're going to bleed Sonya out. And the energy ring gets rid of KOTAL KHAN. That's really bad. Katana's going to have to do the bulk of the work here. Here we power drain Sub-Zero. He's pretty much gone. So we might have to use Monk to absorb whatever Scorpion throws out if we don't get to 1 bar. Looks like we're going to be able to do it. That spear blocked and not reflected, so that's pretty bad. We're going to have to try to get some value from Monk and save Sonya. There's the Shaolin style. That's going to do a little damage. You got to get Katana back in and power drain. Huge value if you do so. Sonya under 1 bar. That second power drain might be too early. Yes, it is. That did nothing. So we're going to get Monk back in just to play it safe. We don't want Katana to get speared. I think if Monk gets speared, we're going to win. That is not enough to get rid of him. So Sonya again, that glow kick will wipe out. We're going to power drain Sonya, get rid of him. And the reflect on the spear is not there, but we're going to get Scorpion down. Do we have enough to finish the fight? Thank you, Brian Vallejo223 for the like on Instagram. Appreciate it. We're going to power drain just to close the distance. This is extremely close. And Scorpion does get eliminated for the extremely difficult victory in the 4th fight. 33,060 XP, 1,203 coins, 2,000 battle points. And as we expected, Mortal Katana was definitely the difference. She is one of the better gold cards, especially because of the power drains. And the Outworld characters start with 1 bar of power. So in the 5th matchup, we have Balance Kenshi, Johnny Cage, and Kenshi. So everybody will start at 1 bar power, and there's 2 power drainers, but Dark Lord KOTAL KHAN does have a power drain as special too, so we're going to use it right away. We did not get a power drain here, but he might use a power drain on one of the Osh-Tekk Warriors, and that takes damage off the main character. And it also gives Katana time to build her power, as everybody on the team power drains. That's really annoying. So there's Kenshi. We're going to power drain him. That takes out most of his health. I think going for eliminations is very important here. There is the other Kenshi that's not at 1 bar. That's pretty significant. We're going to get in the 2nd Osh-Tekk Warrior. Again, we did not get a power drain. It seems like the level 2 really didn't do much damage. The level 1 doesn't really either. But again, the Osh-Tekk Warriors are meant for defense, and you can get a little utility with the power drain. So there's Johnny Cage. Are we going to see a Shadow Kick again on an Osh-Tekk Warrior? I think it'd be pretty amazing if so. Power drain and a nut punch. 2nd nut punch. Now we're going to get in Katana. Kenshi's back in at 1 bar. So we power drain him down. I'm going to power drain again. I think we're going to get some value out of Monk now, and there's the Shaolin style. It's going to do a little bit of damage. I'm ready to lose Monk just yet. I'm going to power drain Johnny Cage. KOTAL KHAN is at 2 bars. We're going to power drain and get Monk back in now. Power drain does not deal with Kenshi. That one does. So we're going to power drain. And we want Johnny Cage to come in so we can get off the X-ray on him. He's not at 1 bar. We're going to go off the sunburn on Johnny Cage. And this will take out most of his remaining health. Takes out about half of it. We're going to buzzsaw combo. We're going to try to block the nut punch. And if we do so, lights out. Block 1. That one is not reflected, but we're kind of pretty much at full health. Johnny Cage gets eliminated. for the victory in a fifth fight. 33,060 XP, 1,203 coins, 2,000 battle points. So in the sixth fight, we have Sonya Blade, Reptile, and Sub-Zero. Pretty bad synergy as nobody works together. We still have to watch out for the energy ring on Sonya. That's probably the most dangerous thing to worry about. We're going to start with Katana. We're going to try to work our way up to 2 bars and power drain a little bit later. Taking some hits on Katana though is really bad. We're going to buzzsaw into the special one and just sock him out that way. So there's Reptile. Now spitting. We're going to get off the Sword Quake. That really doesn't do much damage. It was like 800 damage. But we did get the power drain from the Tomahawks that drains the power. Sub-Zero's in. If he ice balls a Osh-Tekk Warrior, that's pretty good. We might be able to get a power drain off too. It looks like we are going to be able to. It's going to be blocked, but it still will put him close to 1 bar. You see the Osh-Tekk Warrior not even really doing any damage to Sub-Zero. Again, I don't know how it's based, if it's based off raw damage or if it's just a percentage of stats, and it's just pretty terrible. I'm sure at higher levels it's a little bit better. But this is pretty much doing nothing.
Impressive.
It did power drain under 1 bar, so Sonya back in almost at 2 bars. I'd love to see an energy ring on an Osh-Tekk Warrior, and we do see one. 17,000 damage for nothing. Osh-Tekk Warrior is getting beat down. Reptile's in. Please use a level 2 move on it. Yes. Value right there. Probably not the most efficient way to use an Osh-Tekk Warrior, but if you can take special 2s all day long, you just won the game. Sub-Zero again power drain under 1 bar. Now keep in mind, KOTAL Khan, even though he can't summon any more Osh-Tekk Warriors, he still has a power drain component in his special 2 40% of the time, even though Katana has it 100% of the time. We just have to be careful not to take too much damage there. And Sonya is of course going to be the pain in the ass. KOTAL Khan back to 2 bars. Sonya at 1 bar. Monk is gone. We got the Sunburn on Reptile. Afterwards we're going to get Katana in to try to power drain. We haven't really seen a special 1 on Reptile yet. But it is still pretty early, so damage decrease. We're going to power drain Reptile. I think it's better to save another power drain for the next person to come in. Which I'm sure is coming extremely soon. There's Sub-Zero, so we're going to power drain him. And we're going to get KOTAL Khan back in. If we're going to get destroyed, that's really bad. Gotta get Katana out, so we're going to bleed on Sub-Zero. This fight might be a problem. But it also depends on if some of the specials get reflected. That poison is dangerous. I'm going to try to buzzsaw and get rid of Reptile here. It does not look like we're going to be able to do it, but if we can hit him here. Alright, so Reptile is gone. That is not reflected. So both Katana and KOTAL Khan are in bad shape. Energy ring on KOTAL Khan is really good. However, does Katana have enough left to deal with Sonya? That combo really bad. So unfortunately, no, we do not. But if we would have hit that combo under, we definitely would have won the fight. But this video does give you a good idea of how Dark Lord KOTAL Khan performs, and I think he's slightly below Tanya. Like, he really doesn't do a whole lot of damage. But you can use his Osh-Tekk Warriors to actually take hits off of you. And in some cases that can be better. Like, in a normal situation, you wouldn't use Monk. You would use somebody that gives more attack power, kind of like Sun God KOTAL Khan, or somebody else that would be useful, kind of like Assassin Katana. But we just kind of use Monk to manipulate to 3 bars a little bit easier to show off Dark Lord KOTAL Khan's X-Ray. So if you like this video on how good is Dark Lord KOTAL Khan and how to use both his gear item and the bloody gear, please give this video a like rating, comment, subscribe, share this video amongst your friends, and as a favorite, check out my other Mortal Kombat X videos playlist, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch, which are all HollywoodShono. And are you going to be waiting 18 days for the early access to expire and the challenge comes out, or are you going to be getting this card. Actually, I think it's about 12 days because the challenge is over in just under 2 weeks. 11 days, 15 hours. Leave your comments below and let me know what you think of the card. Have a wonderful day, kids.
Who's next?
Finish him!
www.youtube.com/HollywoodShono. Subscribe, bitches!